Meanwhile, look who's joining us she's come out from
Descended
Colorado.
from the mountaintop, yes.
Michelle Malkin, the author of Open Borders, Inc., who's funding America's destruction. It's a great book. It comes out tomorrow. Michelle, good to have you.
Glad to be back.
So we're trying to find out what's going on at our border. And people say, well, the poverty in the triangle countries.
Yeah.
You think it's something else?
Well, there are global financiers that are spread, not just here in America, but everywhere from the United Nations to the Vatican.
Who are they?
To Central America.
Who are these financiers?
I name all of them in the book. And, you know, what's fueled me over the last year to put together nearly 500 pages with 1,600 footnotes and multiple appendices is everyone asks, who is it? Where is it coming from? And the first half of the book talks about all of the foreign enemies that are colluding to undermine American sovereignty. And then, of course, all the domestic forces within the United States who are sabotaging our will when it comes to enforcing strictly immigration law. And all of these forces are the same forces that are aligned in the anti-Trump resistance. And boy, is our president up against a lot. Because as I've always exposed in all of my work dating back to Invasion from 2002, it's both ideological parts of the spectrum. It would be one thing if it was just so easy to say. It would be one thing if it was easy to just say it's George Soros. And there's a whole entire chapter there about him supporting what I call the illegal alien lawyers lobby. You know, everybody hears, and you've covered the stories of all these people that come out of the woodworks to support illegal alien rights over the rights of citizens. Well, it's not just Soros. The problem is that in so many cases, these are tax-exempt, nonprofit charities. Everybody's talking about Maryland. Right? I am a refugee from Montgomery County, Maryland. And Montgomery County and Baltimore County for years have been infested by Soros-funded groups. But there are also tax-exempt groups that we fund. And I think it's so key that people understand the billions of dollars that are being funneled of hard-earned tax-paying American citizens money to fund these illegal alien groups that turn around and sue us because they're not getting tax-subsidized abortions or employment benefits.
It's baffling when you look at the statistics and you see who's being arrested. Recently in Baltimore County, there were 7 people arrested. They were allegedly part of a gang. 6 of the 7 here illegally from El Salvador, and 1 was from Mexico.
Right.
And they were arrested for attacking someone, killing someone with a knife, with several knives, from a rival gang. This is who is in our country, and this is who the president wants to stop. It's not the mom and dad trying to have a better life for their kid. He's just saying, in my opinion, let's do it the right way. These are the people he's trying to avoid coming into our country.
So we need to shut off all the magnets, and we need to start targeting those groups that have been undermining the laws in places like Montgomery County and Baltimore County. Casa de Maryland, which in 2016-2017 alone received almost $400,000 from George Soros's Open Society Institute, but also which is a tax-exempt quote-unquote charities. What you have are basically human smugglers and human traffickers that pose as charities. And they go around and undermine the support for the men and women who put their lives on the line to enforce the law. Where do you think this Abolish ICE movement comes from? It's funded by all of these left-wing groups, which for the last 30 to 40 years have been lobbying for illegal alien amnesty. Why? Because they believe that it's going to result, and many of them say it explicitly now. You've got all these Democratic presidential candidates who understand that what their goal is not just to undermine the borders and block President Trump, but to secure a permanent ruling majority.
But, Michelle, if they get a tax benefit, it's because they've been able to justify, look, we're a charity because of this.
I would like for Congress to start investigating many of these groups. What you have in Europe now is an understanding, particularly in Italy, of these non-governmental organizations which collude with human smugglers. They make billions of dollars in profit. And I think in particular, there should be criminal prosecutions for groups like the one in Aurora, Colorado, that laid siege to the ICE detention facility there. You saw it in July.
saw it.
The pictures and video were all over Fox
They put the
News.
flags
They
up.
yanked the American flag down. They raised the Mexican flag, and they put a defaced Blue Lives Matter flag. That is criminal trespassing, and there hasn't been a single
That was
prosecution.
done by a group that was a charity?
Yeah, yes, all of these groups, they lay there in wait for events like this. And you know what I did on Labor Day? I had a Stand with ICE rally, and 200 patriots from Colorado came out on their day off to do something that nobody else had done, which is to show public support for our men and women. They're being doxxed. There are professors in universities that are sponsored, like companies like Microsoft. I even asked the Microsoft employee, it's in the book, well, do you support the doxing of federal employees? Because one of these Microsoft professors had done that right here in New York City. And they didn't even bother to come up with an answer. They said, well, we can't get back to you on that. We have to hold these companies as accountable as we do as left-wing groups.
So the president started getting on top of that. There's 55,000, which is still ridiculous. They came through apprehensions. We don't know who we missed, as opposed to 144,000. The president said, the heck with Congress. I'm going to do everything on my own.
Yes, and he's had to unilaterally, and he has, of course, plenary powers to do so, so he should do so. Another thing that I think is very important, though, is not just the southern border. It's comprehensive. And what we had last Friday was hysteria from the New York Times bashing our president because he's rethinking the entire refugee resettlement racket. This is part of the UN agenda. And under Obama, those numbers exploded to close to 100,000 people that we were bringing in with very little vetting. And today I'm breaking a story on 60 refugee jihadis that we've let in that came here to stab, plot, and bomb Americans under the guise of compassion. And only somebody like President Trump has had the courage to say, you know what, we need to freeze that. That's the proposal on the table this week. And again, who's paying for this?
Right.
Guess what? You and me.
Wow. Read all about it. Book comes out tomorrow. You can pre-order it today. It's called Open Borders, Inc. Michelle Malkin, thank you very much.
Thank you.